Howdy. It is day 8 of 30 of this video challenge, and it's been very interesting the last 24 hours since I posted my last video. Apparently my videos have been on the main page, which is really cool because I'm very new to YouTube, so I don't really know how it works. Apparently being on the home page is a big thing, so that's really cool. Also, more incentive, more eyes on me to keep going with this, which is great. It's the accountability that I was wanting, because it's not just me doing it now. And actually, this is going to be the topic of today, is the realms of accountability and what it means to have a sense of inner authority. This is something that I will go into. So, for those who have commented and been viewing, it's been, thank you and welcome to the channel. If you are seeing this, please subscribe and send a comment if you really enjoy what I'm doing, if you support what I'm doing. If you don't, do that as well. You know, whatever you feel called to do. This is me entering the YouTube realm. So, day 8 is about accountability. Now, accountability has been something that I've been struggling with for a very, very long time. And it's the one thing that leads to consistency. And I'm going to go right into the depths of this. The procrastination that I was dealing with for a very long time, it impacted my whole realm of accountability. And when I look at what the procrastination was, it was all of this being afraid of taking action. I was afraid of doing the things that I know that I wanted to do, that I know that were going to create beneficial results for myself, and yet I didn't want to do them. Because for some reason, the idea of comfortability was, outweighing the potential outcome. I didn't believe enough in the potential outcome. And so going back about a year ago, I started doing these challenges on Instagram. These challenges were similar to this. It was a 30-day challenge where we would post a story the stories go for about a minute each. And that was the bare minimum. So for 30 days, I put up a story, I confronted the camera, and I was like, cool, this is great. And that was edgy at the time. I invited a bunch of people on to join me on the journey. And yeah, I've had about 30 people or so run through these programs where we just turn up every day. And after a while, a minute just became easy. So I continued it on for a while and ended up getting about a 90-day streak. And then I ended up getting attached to that streak. So I let my ego go on that, and I took a day off, broke the streak, and took a little break from it. Now, this next 30-day challenge is on this 30-minute video format. What this did for me on this challenge was it gave me the ability to post up stuff and share things about my day that were about my life. And the core thing that I was doing was validating myself. Because when I was able to validate myself, it didn't matter if anyone agreed with me or not, or if anyone put heart likes or commented on what I was doing. The main thing was that I was doing it. That was the sense of self-accountability. I brought other people on board because it made it more likely that I would do it, because I was leading this group of people, so naturally it made sense that I kept doing it as well. And so I ran two of these challenges. And the key thing that I did before running them was to run one myself, to go through the whole thing, to show that I could do it for myself and to give myself the authority to simply do it. Because I found that when I have other people hold me accountable, there's a part of myself that ends up I'll outsource the authority to someone else. And therein lies a lot of shame and guilt, where if I wouldn't turn up for something that I'd said I'd been accountable to, I would have all this guilt. I wouldn't want to say it. I wouldn't want to confront the person. And this has been a big theme of my life. It's hit a point of 2024 where it's all about me taking self-accountability. This means organizing my life. This means that having a structure in my day, making sure that these videos are accounted for, that I turn up every single day regardless. If I have to wake up at 4:30 a.m. to do it, that's what needs to happen. And so setting these things is absolutes, because what am I creating with this? I'm looking to create a massive platform here that's going to be a mixture of inspiration and motivation. Also, my biggest passion, which is the voice, communication, and where our attention is. And so my podcast that I'll be releasing at the end of this month is called Masters of Attention. And it's going to be all around harnessing attention and people who are good at it, what they've done in their lives to improve this sense of attention by mastering their own attention first. Because we can learn to master other people's attention, but if it detracts away from our own, we're kind of at a loss. And so coming back into accountability here is, I almost was going to do the podcast as the practice for this, and I realized that I want to have a running start up to this podcast. I want to develop a bit of practice and really develop the skills, because as someone who's had a lot of anxiety in the past, and you may relate to this because anxiety is quite common, especially when we're taking to this online space with video and all of that. In order to do this, it requires us to do away with that version of ourselves that doesn't belong. And maybe it worked in our, quote unquote past life. And now it's not really a matter of, are we going to do it? It's a matter of, what part of me is having to die in order for me to do this? What version of myself am I going to be growing into? And this is a realm that I'm fascinated with, because for a long time I haven't been able to allow these parts of myself to die. There've been little bits and pieces, and it's been a progressive journey. And then there's the point of me deciding to just, I'm going to win at this. I'm going to win at my life. It's my life. It's not about anyone else. It's not about beating anyone else. It's about playing my own game and winning at that. And so, if you guys are following along, a few of you have mentioned about doing your own practices around this. And I would encourage you to simply get started some way or form. And if you want any help with this, check out my Instagram. I'm going to put it in the comments, in the details below. If you follow me on Instagram, I put a lot more short form content with a lot more tips and tricks around communication, and it's going to be around confidence and all of this charisma as well. Being magnetic. And it's all linked up with your soul's voice, with what that voice of yours that you really want to express and bring out into the world, and how to do that. So very excited about that. Coming back to the accountability piece, if you are wanting any sense of accountability on that, that's something that I do as well. So, and I'm not going to go into a selling pitch on that, because this is about me expressing myself. So with accountability, it's the accountability to ourselves is the most important accountability. And this is reinstating our inner authority, which your inner authority has quite likely been given away to other people. And it's the big reason that we don't just post videos of ourselves as a common practice, that we don't often just go, you know what, I'm just going to post about my day and put a thing up, because there's a lot of things that come up. Like if you think of recording a video right now and recording a 1-minute video, what comes up for you? Is there a lot of fear? Is there a lot of stories? And so within that is, well, okay, am I going to allow my own expression to be more valuable than the opinions of other people? And ultimately, it's the only thing that actually matters. Because that soul's voice of yours is just screaming to be let out. And you can hear it, especially within the idea of doing videos like this, or being able to move forward in your career, or to make a business choice and choose to be in the public limelight. Because ultimately this is the thing that makes us stand out, is going, we're going to do something that scares the shit out of us. The idea of people commenting on my videos kind of scared the shit out of me. I'm okay with it with Instagram, but YouTube is like this realm that I have no idea about. So I've been going on YouTube for years. I've been consuming content on YouTube for years, but never as a creator. I never actually entertained the idea of it. And then I realized that I wanted to do long form content, and Instagram isn't very good for that. I wanted to get good at speaking. I wanted to become good at doing stage speaking. I want to be good at podcasts. I want to be a better entertainer as a musician. As a musician, my name is Ogion, and I play mainly local gigs around the Gold Coast, and that's going to be shifting as well soon. There'll be more music coming up, and very excited about that. Now, there's this thing that when we hold ourselves accountable, sometimes we can talk ourselves out of it. We can say, you know what, that thing that I'm going to do, the thing that's going to provide me growth in my life, I don't really need it. And sure, we can rationalize this away. We can say that, you know what, my cousin's partner's dog doesn't really care about this much. And yeah, sure, their dog doesn't really care about it too much. They don't care about actually fulfilling a soul's mission. But you're watching this because there's some sort of reason. There's a reason that you're watching this, probably still now to this point. And there's something that you want to express that's deeper than you've been told that you're allowed to express. It means actually standing out. It means being bold. And maybe it's simply that you want to be okay in front of a camera. And that's cool. Because it's like, why are we afraid of this camera? And I'll speak from experience here. I was afraid of the camera because I was not able to be in control of the people on the other end. I couldn't control how they responded, and I couldn't gauge how they respond. When I'm in a one-on-one interaction with someone, I can gauge whether or not they approve of what I said, whether they disagree, whether they are angry. And what I was able to do in these circumstances is put on a new mask to make sure that I catered for their validation or invalidation. This was me choosing to be fake. Now, this whole YouTube space and doing these raw videos is like, I do one take and that's it. That's my task for the day. And I will have things at the back of my mind that come up and I'm like, oh, I don't know if I want to talk about that topic. And maybe it's a topic for another day. my key thing is, what is actually off limits? Maybe YouTube have some guidelines of things that they will or will not allow us to talk about. And I'm sure I'll find those edges and we'll see where they are. But for now, it's about getting the ball rolling. That's the accountability, that's the self-motivation. And if you're wondering how to get the motivation to do it, to do something like this, it's simply to stop thinking about it. And if I were to give you one tip, if you actually want to do it, drop out of your mind. If you've ever done any form of meditation or anything in your past, or you do it regularly, a meditation technique that I like to use is taking that awareness in your mind, the awareness that is on the stories, that's on the doubts, that's on the fears, and redirect that into your body. Because in your body, it's a completely different story. In fact, that story vanishes. And you can drop that into your body. I actually heard this by a pickup artist once, years ago. He was talking about dropping your awareness into your feet. Because when you drop your awareness into your feet, especially if you're talking to women and you're nervous about it, your attention's there. So you're grounded. You have a sense of stability on this earth. And when you do that, your energy's not up here floating around wondering what to say. It's sitting there grounded in your feet. And so that can provide a lot of stability. That can provide a lot of confidence. And in a lot of cases, that can be the difference between someone being a nervous wreck and being semi-confident and appearing like they may be a little bit confident. So if you're doing your videos, that's something that you can practice. Drop that awareness into your body. And if you don't know how to do that, you can post a comment and I can get in contact with you, or even via Instagram. I'm going to put together like an audio meditation in order to help drop you into that space. And maybe I'll do a reel on it. Yeah, I may do an Instagram reel on it, maybe a YouTube short. Ideas. Because the ability to be able to do that, all of a sudden anxiety can disappear, or we can at least be aware of the anxiety without it controlling us and being complete slaves to it. Because a lot of the reason this came up was, for myself, was playing not to lose. And let's say you imagine some sort of future, something where you want to create something beautiful in your life. You want to create some form of success. Maybe you want to get good at guitar. Maybe you want to get good at singing. Maybe you want to simply be okay walking out in public. Whatever the thing may be. If you think about that goal, it's very unlikely that by thinking about it, you're going to get to the point where you are just okay with it. Because we try to think our way out of it. Well, how can I think my way out of this? Because I'm just thinking about the problem more and more and more, and it's gaining momentum, and it's having a snowball effect, and it's getting worse. I know this because this is what I went through for fucking years. And so, in order to overcome this, we can drop into the body. It's not about fixing yourself. It's not about changing anything about yourself. It's not about changing who you are. It's about changing how you approach life. And if that means that you decide that you want to change from that, great. If you don't want to change and you gain some new tools and you're like, cool, this is great, I feel great, then that's perfect as well. Because there's no reason why we need to shoot for the stars, so to speak. However, if there is a soul's yearning there, if you've become aware of something that you've actually suppressed, dipping into the body will allow you to potentially hear that. And by dropping out of your mind. And this is, this topic on where the mind goes and what the mind creates. because these stories that we have in our mind they become our masters. And I remember realizing this, that for years I didn't have a sense of awareness around my heart. You know, people mention follow your heart, follow your soul's purpose, do what you're meant to, go forth with what you're meant to do on this earth. And I had no idea what this meant. I had no idea that it actually had something tangible linked up with it. I just thought it was something that happened in our heads, something that we had to create a story around, create this vision. And it wasn't until it was just after a breakup, just over a year ago, and I realized that the entire relationship I pretty much created a story around. I didn't have a sense of, I knew I loved this woman, and yet I didn't know how to feel what was in my heart. My mind had created this almost synthesized version of what I thought love was, which wasn't really love, it was the idea of love. And so, realizing this, I spent a whole year on my heart. And when I say a whole year on my heart, I meant for this last year, I've pretty much spent just about every day, missed a few days here and there, but most days I've spent just bringing myself down here when I'm working, when I'm playing music, when I'm sitting there listening to someone, and I just felt this dropping into my heart. What's the feeling that I'm feeling? And yeah, this has allowed me to expand into a lot of different areas, like being able to listen to myself, being able to listen to the whispers that occur in here. Because what happens in here often, it's so familiar and it's so loud and it's very, very persuasive. Have you noticed how good you are at telling stories in your own head? Your mind is so damn persuasive. You may not identify as a storyteller, and yet you believe every story that you tell yourself. And so by dropping out of the mind into my heart for this last year, I was able to empower my awareness of my heart and my body as well within that. So that this mind wasn't so overpowered, because it was overpowered in the wrong ways, kind of like in some sort of, like a villain or some sort of overlord that was just a tyrant. And when I imagined myself and my mind and my inner kingdom, all I could see was that my inner kingdom, the king in my inner kingdom, was sitting there just curled up in a ball, please don't hurt me. It was basically pathetic. And I realized when I saw this it was in a meditation that I did a while ago, I realized that I was actually enslaved to the wind. And in this thing, the wind was my mind. The wind was the airy thoughts of just swirling around, and it was just permeating every corner of this kingdom. It was, completely controlling everything. And so in empowering my heart, it also empowered my soul, because if anyone's read any religious texts, or if you look into some different views on religion, I'm not going to go into that realm now. There is this concept that the heart is the entry point for the soul, and it's also correlated with Christ, and it's correlated with the meeting of heaven and earth, or basically heaven and earth, which is the meeting point at the heart. And so that as the entry point for your soul, to give a power to our hearts is to give power to our soul. And I like to view the soul as the king. The king is the king of my awareness, which is where I put my attention, which is how I choose to construct my life. It is to see the truth, to be able to act on the truth, and to be able to invite all of the components of my kingdom into a room and liaise with them and say, what does my heart feel? How is my nervous system? Is my nervous system capable of doing this? Is my mind capable of doing this? Do I have the strategies? Do I have the tools available to me to do this? And once it's a yes through all of these, then the king simply announces, this is the truth. We all agree, it's unanimous. However, until these other parts of the body are actually working with each other, it creates this massive imbalance, and that's the anxiety. And yeah, I know there's a lot of mindset coaches and all of that out in this world, and they talk about the importance of the mind, which it is extremely powerful. The mind is extremely powerful, and it can also control us if we're not careful about it, if we're not aware of it, and if we're not building up the other strengths in our body. And so focusing on strengthening the mind and ignoring the heart, which is also ignoring the soul, you may end up in a place where you don't want to be, and you end up in somewhere that you're like, I don't know how I got here. You may be wildly successful. You may be in a 20-year-long relationship. You may be whatever the thing may be. You may have said yes to a bunch of things that you deep down knew were not right for you. Because in those moments, you shut down your heart and you decided not to listen to that voice. You chose to listen to this voice. And so there's a lot of problems that can ensue from that. And this is also the stuff that I do within my work. I help people to relocate this deeper sense of self and to recover their voice, the soul's voice, so that they are unapologetic in their expression, so that they turn up in the world with a sense of strength and courage, the ability to do incredible things. And I say this for myself, like, I'm only just getting started with this, and I'm so excited to see where this leads. I want to speak on like big podcasts. I really want to move my way up this ladder and have some amazing conversations with people. And so actually, if anyone's watching this who has a podcast that would like to chat, please send me your details. I want to chat. I would love to be a part of that. And I'd love to talk about the voice and talk about the soul's voice and how this all ties in with everything in the world, because I believe communication is the most fundamental thing that we can master within our realities. Because communication is what's allowing me to speak through this camera right now. And I'm saying that I'm new at this YouTube space, yet communication has been so deep in my life for years. And as a musician, well, communication is the primary format in which it requires me to communicate with the crowd. And it took me a long time to realize this as well. So yeah, I really hope you guys have enjoyed this episode, because it's feeling like the episodes are making more sense now that there is an audience and that you guys are following along. And in the comments, if you have any questions or anything that you'd like me to talk about, please leave them in the comments and I'll look at covering them in the next videos. Because the more interaction that I have from you guys, the more that I can deepen into this. Because I want to create a relationship and I want to grow together, and I want to encourage you and to inspire you to grow and to go into these scary spaces, and perhaps provide you ways that you can actually empower yourselves in deepening into this process. Because there is a lot of strength in finding someone that you resonate with. And if you're watching this video and you resonate with me, that's fucking cool. Like, let's smash it together, because it's nothing in this world moves without community. Community it's just about everything to build any form of vision. And I'll end on this. My phrase that I like to use, it's been coming in for the last couple of years actually. I'm here till my voice moves mountains. And that is me done for the day. I'll see you guys tomorrow.